Hey guys, welcome back to Resin Bell. Today is Magical Miniature Mondays and we are going to be working on a couple of different things. So first up we have the Miniverse Honeydukes Fizzing Whizzbees. I love these. I think they're just so adorable and I can't wait to make some of them with this awesome little mold here. And after that, I'm going to be working on the Hand of Glory for the Borgin Burkes cart. I created these carts, and if you are wanting to create one of your own, I do sell the SVG cut file. It is for laser cutters or Cricut Design Space. I have two different listings, and you will find those in my Etsy shop listed below. I am preparing kits and I'm waiting for wood to come, and it should be here. It has actually been shipped finally and it will be here very soon. So I will be cutting more kits and they will be available when I announce them on my channel. So keep an eye out for that. Hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when I post about it or any of my other posts, and hit that like button and that subscribe button while you're at it, and let's get crafty. Okay, so we're going to look for our recipe in our Honeydukes recipe book. This is also a DIY that I showed on the channel, and if you want to find that, you can find it in the Magical Miniature Mondays playlist in the description box below as well. So let's find the bees, Fizzing Whizzbees. There they are. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? I love this series. So first we're going to fill our mold with the resin. We're going to cure it for 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to flip it over and cure the other side for 5 to 10 minutes and then demold. And we're going to create our little boxes, fill them with our Fizzing Whizzbees, and we have our display. So yay! I'm so excited for this one. It is so stinking cute. I think I'm going to start off by creating my boxes just so that I will have them ready, and they are so cute. Oh my gosh, you guys, they are so cute, so cute. All right, so I'm going to start by pushing this side in, then these sides, and then I will do my best to push this little tab down into that one, that hole. Go in there, go in there. Yes, just like that. And there we have our little box. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Create our Fizzing Whizzbees box, except it has the nice handy dandy little closure, such as, and then this piece goes down inside of here. Oh my goodness, it's so stinking cute. It's so cute. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's set that over to the side. I'm going to set it on its side so I don't knock it off. I'm going to open up our cute little Fizzing Whizzbees mold. I love the molds. I love the molds so much. All right, and we're going to open up our Honeydukes chocolate with the little bees all over it. So cute. Love it. All right, we're going to take the top off. Nice good seal on that resin. Put our fine tip on. And then we can fill. All right, now then, we can cure that. Okay, so let's pop these little things out of here. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Oh my gosh, look at them. Look at them. Oh, they are so cute. Oh my goodness. They're adorable. I love this mold. It's so stinking cute. Cut some flashing off of that one. They're so cute, y'all. Oh my gosh, I love the Fizzing Whizzbees. They are so adorable. Oh, they are so cute. They are so cute. All right, I'm going to make a few more sets of those. All right, so I've made a few. I believe this is 3 sets. I think maybe 4. I don't remember now. It's been a minute. I think it's 3. Fizzing Whizzbees, Fizzing Whizzbees, Fizzing Whizzbees. I'm going to need more. It takes a lot to fill these up, right? To put my bees in the front. Oh no, I lost one. It went flying, y'all. All right, so I'm thinking another, maybe 2 more. Gonna need 2 more. Maybe 3, maybe 4. Okay, so I think it was 5 trays that filled it up. I believe it was 5. And I may have filled this up backwards. I think I did. Let's try that again. Get over there, bees. All right. Good enough. Alrighty. That's better anyway. Slide these in. Yeah, there we go. Now we can see some bees through there. Now my other thing is, close this up. I want to make some buzzing bees. I love how it's like angled and everything. They just did such a good job. All right, so I'm going to fill up my mold one more time. And we're going to make some buzzy bees, okay? Because why not? All right, now, before I cure that, I'm going to cut some pieces of wire. This is a very fine copper wire. All right, just in case you couldn't see that, this is 26 gauge craft wire. I don't know if they still sell this or not. I got this years ago, but it is a 26 gauge wire if you're looking for wire. But you can use any wire. I just think this is appropriate for the size. So now I got to figure out how I want to do this without, I think I need to move this back for a moment. Sure, set that in there. Perhaps. Okay. Just kind of bending it at a little bit of an L so that this can go down in. And I can just set it. Okay. And cure. Cure it real quick before they can come out again. They should hold. Okay, so let's demold these little things. So there we have our little bees, and you can see the wire in there. That's why I ended up using gold wire, so it would kind of help a little bit. So demold the rest of these. All right, so now I'm going to take just like a little something round. I'm going to wrap my little bees around until I have just a little piece left. I'm just going to bend it. Buzzy bees, buzzy bee. Clean some of this flashing off, and so now got something that looks kind of buzzy bee like. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to stick it into the holes of the box. I think, maybe. Just going to stick it straight down in there, and oh my goodness, looky, boing, boing. Let's do that a few more times. All right, there we go. We got some Fizzing Whizzbees, guys. That was kind of fun. That was so easy to do, too. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I love it. Fizzing Whizzbees, so fun. All right, so let's go put this in our Honeydukes cart and we'll move on to the DIY for today. It's a long video, guys. I hope you'll hang in there with me. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, guys, let's stick our Fizzing Whizzbees in our Honeydukes Candy cart. And oh my gosh, it's so cute. So cute. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. How adorable. Oh, I love it. Okay. So let's get on to the awesome DIY for today. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I have a couple extra Fizzing Whizzbees. Maybe I can do something with them. Let's see. Let's remove this cart right over here. Actually, I think I'm going to wrap it. You know what? First, I need to do the thing. Do the thing first. Alright, so now I have like a little bee happening here, a little bee action. Let's do the other one as well, and then we can have two bees hanging out on the cart. Leaving a little extra here so that I can actually get this. Okay. I love that. Oh my gosh, look at them. They're so cute. Yep. Too cool. All right, so now we got some Fizzing Whizzbees and some Fizzing Whizzbees. So I think that is so much fun. All right, let's move on to the DIY for this week. Kind of see it hanging out over here. The actual moving Hand of Glory from Harry Potter's Borgin Burkes shop. So I'm starting with some coffee stirrers that I picked up at the grocery store. I wanted the hand to be a little smaller than this, but it's kind of dictated by the size of the coffee stirrers. So this is what I'm using. You know, it's the hollow little tiny straws that you use to stir your coffee. And I kind of, based on the diameter of the straw, kind of determined what size it needed to be. And then I just kind of marked, you know, approximately, you know, your points on your finger. So we needed 3 different ones. So, and then I took a very sharp new blade X-Acto knife, and then I cut at an angle, just being very careful. Don't slip and cut your finger. I have my hand resting on the table so that I can control how much it moves. I would not try to do this, you know, in your hand or anything like that, because you can cut yourself real easy, because, you know, it's plastic and it's going to slide. So I'm just going to go back and forth until I have cut it approximately halfway through the diameter of the straw. Okay. So you can kind of see about how far, and that will give me a joint that will bend. Now the plastic on the back becomes kind of like a spring that kind of brings it back up. So we'll do that, and then you just repeat that for all of the joints. Now this one isn't quite right. I'm just doing this for a demonstration. The joints are a little too far apart on this one, but I've already made the other ones. I just wanted to show you how I did it. Okay. And that's what we end up with. You can kind of see how far I cut into the straw. You don't want to cut too far, because if you cut too far, there won't be enough plastic on the back to make it pull back up, and you'll just be left with a finger that's, you know, permanently bent, you know, instead of one that goes back open. And that kind of reduces the amount of movement that you get when you pull the string. So now we're going to go on to putting a little string in and drilling a little hole at the top. Okay, so I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to sort of drill a tiny little hole about halfway between the top and the joint. And I'm just showing it to you with my finger, but I always do it on a surface. You don't want to try doing that when you're holding it. You're going to drill through your finger. Don't do that. I was just trying to show you where to do it. And so then I'm going to take some nice heavy duty thread. This is like an upholstery thread, but you could also use embroidery floss or something else that's a nice sturdy thread, because you're going to be pulling on this and it's going to be creating some friction against the insides and against the base, and you want it to be a good strong thread, otherwise it's going to just snap on you and some of your fingers aren't going to work, and you don't want that. So get some heavy thread. This is heavy. Like I can pull on this and it's not going to break. So I'm just tying a basic box knot at the end, and you want to pull it snug, but you don't want to like tighten it down really hard, because there's not a whole lot of plastic between that hole and the end, and if you pull it too tight, you're going to break through that plastic, and you really need that to be intact. So then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to slide it straight through the whole straw, and then I'm going to kind of rotate that knot so that it's inside instead of on the outside, and then I'm just going to pull it down into the straw. Then I'm going to cut off my excess, and I'm going to leave just a little bit, and that's going to help me to stabilize that knot. So I'm going to add some hot glue down inside to stabilize it here in just a little bit. So here I'm just going to show you that it works to curl the finger that you just made. So how cool is that? It's such an easy mechanism. They use it in puppetry and all kinds of different things, but it's so much fun to do. And I had been really racking my brain trying to figure out how I was going to do this in a miniature scale until I found these straws, and I was like, oh yeah, that'll work. So here I'm just taking some hot glue and putting it on the inside of the end, just a little bit. You don't want it to run down into, you know, the next joint, because you're gonna, you know, it won't bend that way. But that's just going to stabilize that knot and make sure that it doesn't come untied. My cat Screech is sitting next to me, and he's just licking away. So if you can hear licking in the background, that's what it is. Okay, so now I have all of the fingers with the string sealed with hot glue on the tips. That's just to make sure that the string doesn't come unraveled when we're pulling the string to bend it, right? So I have all of my fingers and they are made in the different sizes. You can see the middle finger's a little longer, the index finger, you know, shorter, taller, shorter, shorter for your pinky finger, and then the thumb. And so the next thing I did was took a little piece of scrap wood and I drilled holes, kind of held all the straws together and marked it so that I would know where the holes for all of the strings would go. So let me see if this is big enough for this. Nope, not quite. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get these strings in there. It's gonna be a little tough. And I just used embroidery floss. This is actually really heavy, heavy duty sewing thread for like upholstery and stuff, but you could use embroidery floss as well. So now I'm just going to string the strings through my base, and then once I get that done, I can hot glue all the fingers in place. Just glue, add some glue to the side, but I want to make sure that my finger is actually going the right direction. I don't want it to go off that way or that way, so I have to turn it until I get it. I think that looks pretty good. Make sure my straw is over that hole. Yep. Oops. And then we'll add a little bead of glue, maybe on the back, just to hold it in place. Excuse my handshake. I'm at a weird angle, so it makes it difficult. All right, there's a bead of glue. I'll put another one on the front. Now, for the thumb, I actually cut that at an angle, the bottom of that one, so that it could sit kind of at a diagonal, right? Because if you cut it straight, it's going to want to stick straight up. So if you cut it at a diagonal, then you can get your thumb in there at a diagonal. It's hard for me to show it, guys. There's a lot of little tricky pieces in here. This is tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty tough. So I think that looks pretty good. I want to angle it back just a little bit. Maybe angle it out a little bit. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I want to angle it out just a little. Okay. Now, a glob of glue. Okay, so I've just taken some hot glue and kind of built up a little bit around the hand. All right, so that is the basic, very basic shape of the hand. I'm going to be putting some clay on the bottom here, and then the top will have some paper towel wrapped around it. Maybe some tissue paper. I'll see what works best. But for right now, I'm thinking that looks pretty good. So let's try out the hand, shall we? What's it gonna do? Is it gonna break and crumble into 1,000 pieces in my hand? Oh my goodness. Let's try. I think a couple of them I haven't tried yet, so they're a little stiff. This one's a little stiff. I'll need to work it a little bit. Once you work them a little bit, you know, the creases get a little bit worked and it's a little easier to bend them. So, you know, work them a little bit. La, 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 la. Oh my goodness. So this is one of the projects that I was really excited to try when I decided to do the Borgin and Burkes cart. I keep trying to say Borgin and Burke, and it's Borgin and Burkes, and you know, like Barnes and Noble. That's how it's stuck in my head, but it's Burkes. So there we go. We got kind of a creepy little working hand there, and let's see here. Let's try this one. The thumb gets hung up. I didn't do the thumb quite far enough, but that's okay. So it's kind of creepy, y'all. Yeah, it's getting hung up. Didn't quite do it far enough out. Let's try that a little bit. Bend it out a little bit. That's a little better. All right. Going to get you. Oh my goodness. Creepy. All right. So I think I need to create like a little box or something underneath so that this can all come together. Okay, so I just created this little stack of books out of polymer clay and basically just rolled it out really thick and cut out 3 books. Added a few details to make them kind of stand out and cut holes in the center so that the strings for my Hand of Glory can go through the center. Then I'm going to place the Hand of Glory on top, and then I can set that in my cart. So I'm going to go ahead and go bake this, and we'll move on. Okay guys, so I just went through and painted the book stack, and I basically just painted it dark brown, light brown, and green, and then I used a brown wash to kind of darken it up here, some dark brown wash along the edges, and then the pages I just painted them an off-white and then did a regular brown wash and then wiped it away to kind of age the pages and really bring out the lines and the detail that I sculpted in. And while I was at it, I went ahead and made another book, same way I did those, just out of Sculpey clay. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool. I painted it the same way, basically. I used a pencil to kind of carve into the subject matter, which is cursed objects, and on the side. The only difference was after it dried, I went back and I dry brushed on the lighter color because I did it in a very, very dark brown, almost a black. And so when I dry brushed the lighter color over, it made the words kind of stick out a little bit better, which is what I was going for. So the other difference is I used my X-Acto knife just on the corners to cut into the clay, and it kind of gives it that effect of actual pages. I didn't do it all the way down, just on the corners to kind of give it that, you know, realistic look. And the wash that I did kind of settled into all of those little cuts, and it really made it stand out really well. So that's pretty cool. All right, so the next thing I gotta do is I gotta work on the Hand of Glory. I have to cover all of the straws, basically. And so I just grabbed a Halloween napkin and I separated it, peeled the layers apart. There were 3 layers, and then one of them I have torn into strips. So now I'm ready to use my Mod Podge. I think the Mod Podge will stay flexible enough that I can still bend the fingers. Hopefully. We'll see. I hope. I'm gonna have to be very careful about not getting any Mod Podge down into the joints of the fingers, because I don't want to glue the string that pulls the fingers into place. So I'm going to be very careful about what I'm doing. So I think I will start by perhaps gluing the paper first, and we'll kind of do it a little bit like paper mache. So only one side is glued. So I'm just going to kind of wrinkle it up and wrap it, because this is supposed to be kind of an old icky hand, you know, like mummified and dried out. So I'm gonna try to get some wrinkles in here. And just kind of do it almost like a paper mache. Just kind of stick the edges down with the glue. And then continue on. Okay, I'll do the same thing once again, just gluing that on. Cut off the excess. pretty good. I'm gonna add a little bit more and just keep on doing that. Okay, for the fingers are a little tricky. So what I'm doing for them is I'm cutting an extra long piece, long skinny piece, so that I can cut them, making sure I brush off any excess Mod Podge because I don't want it seeping into the joints. So I'm really brushing it thin and then taking that and laying it on the front of the fingers best I can, and then pushing it through one side with my paintbrush till I get it down, pushing down the excess, and then do the same thing for the other side. Kind of roll my paintbrush through. Does help some. Does help some. Trying to be careful not to get any glue inside of those joints on the top. And then turning it over and pushing it down on the back, one side and then the other. And then cut off the excess on the top and fold that down with a little extra glue. Not tapping the fingertips, and if you mess up the other one next to it, you just push it back down. Now, this does not have to be pretty because it's supposed to be an old withered up mummified hand, so it's all gonna work out. It's all gonna work out. And then after we're done here, we'll go back and work on this back side here. Okay, and then after I get it pushed down, I'm just pulling it to make sure that it's not stuck anywhere. Okay. All right, got one more finger to do. Okay, so I've got it all wrapped up, and I added a few more layers on the areas that don't bend, and then the areas that do bend only got one layer. That's why you can see through them, and then this part you can't. So I'm gonna let that dry and then we can paint it. I used my heat gun on it just a little bit. The hand part's not quite dry. I mean, it's dry to the touch, but it's not dry all the way through. So now I'm just going to put a base coat on of my off-white that I created for my books. And I'm going to water it down just a little bit. Not a lot, but just enough so that I can create... I don't want the paint to be too thick, because that might hinder the ability for it to close and move. So I'm just going to put on some different washes, I think. There's lots of, I've kind of worked in a lot of wrinkles into this, so I'm going to put my lightest coat on first, and then I'm going to do a wash, a darker wash, so that it can fill in between all the little nooks and crannies and cracks and make them stand out, because I want it to look really aged. And just doing very light brushing on this very thin coat. So there's what I've got so far. Add in a little bit more color on the backs. All right. And before it dries completely, I just want to kind of crease the paint a little bit, and I'm gonna let that dry, and then we'll come back and do some washes and stuff. All right. Yeah, raw. All right, we'll let that dry. All right, I think that's dried pretty well. Just going to add some water to some brown paint. And I'm going to do the old wax on, wax off trick. Get a piece of paper towel here. And we'll just get at it. Kind of like that. Okay. Alright. Painty paint. Washy wash. And wipey wipe. Okay. And carry on. Carry on my wayward son. And the singing continues. Hey, I think it's looking like a creepy old hand now. It's getting there. I think a little bit more layers and probably get some blacks in there. Alright, so I got it all painted up, and then the very last step was to add some Mod Podge, some glossy Mod Podge, and that kind of gives it that kind of mummy skin effect because it has a little bit of a sheen to it. So yeah, so here we go. We've got our Hand of Glory. It'll focus, and it still bends. And if you pull it to one side, you can make some of the hands bend, some of the fingers bend, be all like, oh, look at that, peace, man. But yeah, so now I just have to glue it on. And I did drill a hole through the cabinet already. I think I'm going to put it up a little closer to the front. So it's going to go right here. And so my books, thread this through my books. And then this will go through the hole. And I've done it so that it'll be on the inside of this door frame here. So that goes in there. That goes. I think I put these on. Put these upside down. I want the light colored book to be on the top. So push that through. And then string my other strings through the bottom. Decide where I want that book to set. And then my hand is going to set right there on top. Yes. So when I pull the string, I like it. Okay. Yes. So pulling the string from the bottom, Hand of Glory, chop, like just like in the Harry Potter movies where he clamps down on his hand when he touches it. Oh yeah, I dig it. That's awesome. That's cool. All right, so now I just got to glue that in place. All right, so for this application, I'll be using some E6000 because I don't want this to break free. So add, get it to come out. Yep. Put some on that side and put some on that side. I think that's probably going to be plenty. I don't want it to be causing any issues. All right, like so. Yep. And then this go on here. Just a little bit of glue, not too much. I don't want it squeezing out on me. Okay. And then that will be glued on a little catty corner. Just a little bit. Yep, just like that. Test it and make sure. Get my string out from the bottom here. Yep, just like that. All right. So, and there is my hand of glory. Right, and then I have a few other just bits and bobs miniatures that I had. I think I had gotten that from Temu, and I had gotten this from Temu, and I thought, what better place than a Borgin Burkes for a Ouija board. So that's gonna be in there, just kind of stuck in here and there. And yeah, I think I'll put this little, I mean, this could be over here, you know, could be in the hand of glory. Just like so. You put it wherever you want, something like that. I think I might do that, and then I'll have to put in my cursed object book. Stick that in here, and there we go. I like it. I think that turned out really cool. So awesome. Okay guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the DIY as well as the Honeydukes fun at the beginning. And I just love how this turned out. It's different than how I imagined it would be, but I love how it turned out. So hit that like button and the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!